Right, 22nd of August 2025, CRAZII Market Talk with KEL, where logic meets profit. Okay, as usual, people been asking me, right, KEL, what will happen to the Jackson Hole Symposium if this Jerome Powell decided not to cut interest rate? Well, it's just going to be very scary. Now, because the thing is everybody now is already pricing in a 90% or even 80% there'll be a rate cut in September. If Jerome Powell really don't talk about it or decided to say that you look at more numbers again to decide, the market will be shaken. And then what will happen? Okay, two things happen. Number one, the dollar will go up. Okay, that will cause gold price to go down. So this one, please take note of that. Yeah. Number two, because of that, there will be unhappiness, there will be disappointment for the stock market. The US Dow Jones and the indices will be coming down, especially the NASDAQ. Okay, so this is going to be very critical. Likelihood he will say something today, Jerome Powell. So watch out for the market. So for those who are trading a bit more gold, please be careful. It may cause a bit of disturbance along the way. Yeah, so this one, be very, very careful on that. Okay. All right, so let's go into the fundamental very shortly, but make sure that do a risk management, yeah? And also at the same time, we'll cover the diamonds again, part two today. Yesterday was part one, today is part two, yeah? We'll talk about more about the diamonds and how to utilize the diamonds on the day chart, okay? So let's look at the fundamental first to begin. Okay, S&P 500 posts the fifth losing day ahead of Jerome Powell's speech. The Dow dropped by 150 points. Okay, so as we have been saying, the last few days when we saw the KSI turning red, we know the boys will be selling, and truth be told, it all happened. So whether you believe or not that we have an index or indicator that basically, that can see the big boys movement, end of the day, this is the numbers, this is the fact, right? Okay, so what happened is that investors now will be looking forward for Jerome Powell's speech at the Central Bank Annual Economic Symposium at Jackson Hole. Okay, now the thing is the Fed Fund futures are pricing at 74%. Hey, wait a minute, it was at 95%, right? Remember, in fact, it was at 98% at the start of the month itself. And now gradually it dropped to the 90, then 85, then today 74%. So the numbers are actually coming down. But look at it, the way they say it, right, is as if they're telling you that, there's a cut. But the thing is that if they tell you that from the high 98% drop to 74%, would you think the same thing now? This is why usually you have to watch the news and understand and see how they want to say it, right? So one thing you must understand, usually the Federal Reserve governors, they are always on the same side. But interestingly, the Fed governor like Christopher Waller and Michelle Bowman have against it. All right, they descended and thinks that they should cut rate right now. So this is the first time two board members have basically go against the flow since 1993. Okay. So we all know that the stock evaluation now is very elevated. That's very, very true. So Jerome Powell, if he hint a rate cut, this may actually push investors off. Why? Because you see, once you have a rate cut, the US dollar will depreciate, right? So the dollar will depreciate and I put my money in the US stock. So definitely my exchange rate won't be beneficial. So that may push people to get out. So that is why people notice that whenever the interest rate had to come off, right, you notice the stock market also come down at the same time. It's because of the US dollar. So as a fund manager, or say I'm a Europe fund manager or I'm a Singapore fund manager, if I put a lot of money in US and basically the stock price is at a very high level now, multiply by the exchange rate, right? So it will not make sense to me that if I know they're going to cut interest rate, you're going to devalue your dollar, then I still stay in your shares unless the share price is very cheap. So now at a high price now, it makes a lot of sense for me to get out of the market. So European funds, Asian funds, they will likely get out of the market. So this is why I say that likelihood, right, August will see a peak, and apparently it's all happening right now. Okay, so apparently itself, they also say that usually August, the trading volume is a bit thin. Not too sure why. Cannot be 7 months, right? And the reluctance of risk-hating into the weekend, of course, because of the symposium. Okay. So Jerome Powell is set to deliver the big Jackson Hole speech on Friday, which is tonight. So Singapore time. So take note of that. Yeah. Okay, so usually such symposium doesn't have anything, but because this time round is really special, so the market will be watching very closely. Now, we all know that this Jerome Powell has done a great job to keep the Fed independent, ignoring some of the noise and question he gets from the White House. But the thing is this, very importantly now, he has to maintain his position until his term end. His term end will end in May next year. So now there's a lot of slashes from White House about their renovation costs, and then they also attack Lisa for the mortgage fraud, which is really, to me, it really doesn't make sense. So basically, White House is creating a mayhem for the Jerome Powell and his community. Yeah, so it's very clear that there's a lot of pressure on it. But if you look at it on that perspective, there's nothing the White House can do. They can do a lot of things like all this stupid stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Okay, so now the thing is this, the Fed is pretty divided over the tariff, inflation, and labor markets in the minutes. We talked about that yesterday, so we'll just skip it through. Now, Japan reported hotter than expected core inflation for July, but lower since March as price of rice eases. So the price of rice eases a little bit because there's slump buying across the board, but then again, the inflation itself is still at the high level of 3%. So definitely itself is not really good for them to do anything else but to consider even to hike interest rate to pull down the inflation. Yeah. Now, property prices in Tokyo prime areas spark calls to curb foreign ownership, and this is happening. Like in Singapore, our property prices went up because of the foreigners coming in to buy, right? So now in Japan, the Tokyo itself, right, the Watt 23 apparently itself has increased quite a fair bit, and this actually caused a lot of problem right now for the Japanese. And this is again, we can feel it very in Singapore, the same feeling, yeah. So Japan itself, good part, they are moving because of the funds coming in from the US. But the thing is this will be an issue. Now, Donald Trump has spent $100 million on bonds since taking office. So you can see that he has been on a multi-million dollar buying, all right? Okay, so he is one of the buyers, but 100 million is really, really nothing compared to the billions of dollars that's needed for their operation itself. Now, the S&P 500 may not be the leading economic indicator anymore, but the S&P 495. I think that is very clear because we all know that the tech giants like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Meta are the real one that holds the market. As a matter of fact itself, right, the 5 stocks that is inside probably holds everything. Take a look here. This is the top weighted companies in S&P 500. You can see that NVIDIA takes up by 8.1%. Microsoft 7.1%, Apple 6.3%, Amazon 4%, and Alphabet 3.97%, Meta 3.1%. So if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, by right is 7. Tesla no longer there. Broadcom is the next one here. So this 7 companies add together itself, right? You can see they take about 1/3 of the entire S&P 500. So all these tells you that, right, if any of them get into some trouble, the S&P will fall pretty badly. All right. So take note of that. This is something that we need to do for today. And of course, yesterday we get to see this properly. So take note of that itself. The S&P expected to be sideways towards the downside, but usually later on at the last part of the week, the August period, there will be some upside. So I suspect that this will happen in next week itself. So traders, watch out for that. Okay, so that is the fundamental. Let's look at the technical right now. Okay, so let's look at the technical. The technical shows the Dow Jones today. The opening price is 44,824. The MLP is 44,869. Okay, so it's pretty near buy. And this morning you can see that it triggered the pivot 1 at 44,856. It also triggered MLP. So at the moment now, it's trading slightly below OP. If the markets go down, it will be going towards this number, which is the MA30, 44,577. But do note, yesterday, the market rebounded beautifully exactly at the MA itself. The Dow came all the way down, hit that level, and then rebounded from there. That was amazing. So that means that this indicator itself of ours is very important, MA30. So if the market stays above MA30, it's always bullish. But if the market ever breaks down below MA30, the selling will definitely come. So I'll give you a bit of heads up first. At the moment now, the KSI is green, KCX is blue, black, sorry. So which means that it's very bullish for the market. And you can see from there, the market basically got all the long tail, long legs at the bottom because the buying is still there. Yeah? Okay, the thing is this, if ever the market do fall and break below the MA30 and stay below the MA30, wow, this can be catastrophic because you can see the market next target level can be as low as 43,978. So we are now talking about basically almost like 1,000 point away. If it actually do happen, if the market ever break the MA30, that will actually be happening. So traders, please watch out for that. Now that is on the downside. Now, if Jerome Powell do come in and tell the whole world, okay, let's cut interest rate soon, the market will go up because this is actually now showing a potential elephant trade on the downside to go up itself. So the thing is this, if the Dow Jones do get it once, it may recover all the way to this high, which is like 45,048. All right, so put it down first, 45,048. Okay. The next one, it'll be here, and that will be 45,210, yeah? 45,210. So the upside can be as high as 45,048 to 45,210. The downside can be as much as 44,577. So I'll write it down for you, 44,577. Okay, so that is the range for the Dow Jones in the coming day today. Yeah, so traders just watch out for that. Okay, take my own picture. Okay, so that is the Dow Jones. Let's look at the gold market. Now, I already given you my warning on gold, all right? And I want to be very clear on this. That's why this morning I show you the chart, right? This is the diamond, and this is where you put a line across it. The candlestick have changed color from yellow to red, so it's actually a sell signal on the diamond line. At the same time, the KCL is also the same as the diamond line, so that's why you have a sell signal. And of course, at the same time, the market trades below the MA30, so everything itself is more towards the sell side at the moment, including now the KSI and KCX has both turned to bearish. So overall, okay, the market looking to sell. Now, the thing is this, because now, as I mentioned to you, there is a rising concern that Jerome Powell may not want to cut interest rates so soon. So if he really does that, the dollar will increase in price, the gold will come down instead. So that is the reason why traders, if you're going to buy some gold, go slow. And at the moment now, the current context doesn't really favor gold. So gold maybe most likely will trade down towards a pivot 2 later at 33.27. That is a very high chance gold will go towards there because as more and more okay, something okay, sorry, just distracted. And more players are thinking that there might be a no rate cut statement from Jerome Powell. That causes people now to get a bit what do you call worried about that. Yeah. Okay, so take note of that. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Not too sure what's happening over on my side here. 1 minute, just check my friends from Vietnam. Are they in? Okay. All right. So that is something to take note of. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so take note of gold, yeah? Okay, so downside is 3327. Upside itself can be back to 3347. Okay. Hmm. That weapon? What? Okay. Now, next market we're going to cover itself for today will be oil. Okay, wine coming all right. You can see that oil is bottoming out. Yes, indeed. If you do a right click and refresh the oil, you will actually see the diamond. Yes, the diamond has popped up, right? Okay. So we have a CCRY on the day chart, which will give you the KCL at 64.25, which happen to be the same diamond line. So 64.25 is the level to watch for the crude oil. If the buys are buying right now, then there is a chance for crude oil to go towards $65. And if it goes higher, it may go into 66.50. Okay, it's all possible. Yeah. The last time we saw this was here when the diamond came up, and then we draw the line and the crude oil price went up. Okay, so it's very important. There was another incident, there was a diamond line, the market stayed a bit afloat for a short while, then it broke below the CCYR, and then the price goes down. So as long as it's a CCRY, color change red to yellow, the diamond, that is good. Okay, so this one we have to watch out together, yeah? Okay, so I believe that will happen. Now, if the crude oil goes down, then the downside can be back to 64, 62, 74 level, but I don't think so. I think this should be the base right now. Now, of course, if the dollar strengthen because of no rate cut, then of course the crude oil price may be affected also, yeah? Okay, so that is crude oil. Okay, let's look at the Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin, you can see this morning opening price is 112,393, and now it's moving up towards the MLP. Yeah, just moving up right now because based on what we see, the Bitcoin is near the extremity, and usually as extremity itself, right, that's where the market will bottom out and recover. So now it seems to be performing the same way right now, recovery. So let's see whether we going to see a recovery like this. All right, so for those who are trading the Bitcoin, remember the house rule, always buy when it's above OP. All right, but because the KSI is red, the KCX is blue, so just buy small and take profit along the way. All right, you don't want to be holding the baby all the way in. Yeah, so take note of that. Very important. Okay, so this is the Ethereum. Let's refresh the screen. Now, Ethereum, same thing. We have it right now. It's very strongly supported by the pivot to 4208, right? Very strongly supported. And also the MA30 is supporting it also. You can see it's supported for 3 days already. So that's why now we have a bit of support for Ethereum. And Ethereum now is trading above OP. So the first target it should be going will be the KCL at 43.31. So now it's 42.61. So it's actually very possible for this Ethereum to go back up again to 43.31. Yeah. Now the boys are still selling, the retail are still selling, so that's going to be sideways, but then it's not at the extreme yet. Extreme was here back in August, and that was where the market really extreme, and then the market goes up. Though today here itself is still supported, but it's not extreme yet. Not extreme yet, so you have to be very careful. The market may still go down one more round before really bottoming out itself. Yeah. So all these are very, very possible. So traders, you need to watch out for that. Okay, so that is all for today for the market talk. Right, we do a currency trade. Yeah, currency. We'll do one currency, and that will be the pound. Okay, pound is coming down. As you can see, pound has been trading down for the last 6-7 days. The boys have started to come in, the retail too. So the pound itself is because the dollar strengthened, right? Because now again the market seemingly is thinking there's no rate cut, at least not so much. So pound, if it goes down further, it should be able to tap until 1.3382, which is the pivot 2 level. Now the boys are selling, the KSI is selling, so that is a higher chance for you to tap this once it go below OP. Now, actually, when it goes up itself, you notice the MLP and the MA is actually stacked on top of it. So if the market do touch the two lines and pull back, then it's a very clear cut, the selling will kick in, yeah? So traders, watch out for that. Okay, we'll take a short break for 2 minutes. We'll come back to do the diamond lines and to go and follow through what we share about it. We do on the market, even stocks, to let you learn something from it. All right, so don't go away. Stay tuned. 2 minutes time. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.